Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Speaking of Zane, September the 10th, 2023, 242nd edition of Speaking of Zane. Honestly, didn't know if I'd be able to do Speaking of Zane tonight, and probably was undecided until 5 minutes ago. But Lori encouraged me, and I had some queries online from others, Kelly and others, about whether I would be doing Speaking of Zane tonight. And anyway, I think Lori kind of convinced me that at least to share that we're okay. We're not, but just to let you guys know that we appreciate all the prayers and the thoughts and everything. And most of you've heard, I guess. If you haven't heard, maybe you're tuning in to Speaking of Zane and you haven't watched social media. Unfortunately, the unthinkable happened again to us in the fact that we lost another son. Our oldest son, Tyler, who's 37, passed away on Tuesday. And I feel so terrible that Lori had to get the news herself. Something that we've always dreaded is a knock at the door. And I wasn't here. I was halfway across the Atlantic when I got the word, and poor Lori had to answer the door, and I'm so it's so terrible. But I got I guess I was somewhere around Nova Scotia or somewhere when my colleague at work, Ashley, messaged me on our work. I had internet access on the plane, and she messaged me and said, how long until you get to Paris? I said, well, I got about 6 more hours, 5 more hours. And she says, Guy, there's been an emergency at home. Can you get a hold of somebody? And I'm like, oh man. And so I got on Facebook Messenger and got a hold of Charlotte. And here's the crazy thing. Charlotte was in Australia. I'm in the North Atlantic and Charlotte's in Australia. And she says, Dad, I need to talk to you. There's been an accident. And I said, well, is your mom okay? And she said, yes. And I'm texting and I'm messaging. And I said, is Tyler okay? And she says, no. And I said, what's going on? And she wouldn't tell me. She says, Dad, you need to call me. I'm like, how do I call you? Anyway, I ended up calling her over the internet. And Charlotte told me. And I still had 5 hours to go to get to Paris. I was flying to Paris and then from Paris on to London. And so anyway, my colleague Ashley at work, she got a hold of my manager, Nicole, who I just got off the phone with. She's so awesome. My manager, Nicole, at work. She just called me a few minutes ago. But anyway, she let Nicole know, and they sprung into action. And before I even got to Paris, they had already had me booked on another plane to come back, and had my baggage redirected. I think it went from Paris to London to Amsterdam to Paris and then back to Atlanta, but it made it back okay, and I didn't have to worry about any of it. They took care of everything for me, and um, they even had a car waiting for me at the Atlanta airport to drive me home, so I didn't have to worry about anything. And so my colleagues at work have been fantastic, all the way up to the chairman of our company, founder, who called me and sending me a scripture every morning, first email I get. But yeah, Jackson, my youngest son, has been awesome and has been doing all the interaction with Fulton County medical examiner and everything, and just did such a great job, according to Lori, and handed everything over to me. Unfortunately, we're still trying to move on to whatever the next step is, and hopefully tomorrow we'll know much more about the circumstances and next steps. We don't know much about what happened to him. We do know that there was a fall from a height involved, and that's about all we know at the moment. But anyway, poor Lori had to field that all on her own, and Jackson's been great. Charlotte was great. Charlotte got back from Australia today, and she's coming in on Wednesday. I told her there's no reason for her to come any sooner. I feel so terrible for my daughter Hannah. Hannah and Tyler were probably the closest, and he really confided in her, and she's really heartbroken, as you might imagine. But once we know what's going on, we'll certainly share. I think Lori and I have talked, and the kids have talked, and I think it's likely that we'll probably just have a family, an immediate family type service here this coming week, and then a celebration of life at some later date. And we're still talking about that. Tyler was a big baseball fan, big Braves fan, and so anyway, Lori's thinking about some connection there to baseball, but anyway, we'll know more as the week goes along. But thank you all that have joined tonight. I see my Paula in there. I see my colleague Rhonda. I see my niece Heather. Daryl's in there, of course. The Kihasses are in there. Ken's in there. My dad's in there. Kelly is in there. I was chatting with Kelly earlier today. And my friend Amanda, who's fantastic, is in there. My cousin Toby. Thank you guys for joining, and thank you for all the prayers. I'll tell you, we feel those for sure, and so keep them coming. Everybody's been great reaching out, as you might imagine. I feel so terrible because people don't know how to. People come to Lori and I now asking us if they have a friend that loses somebody, should they respond? People come to us as the experts on this now. Something you don't want to be the expert in, but I don't expect people to know how to react or how to respond or what to do or what not to do. There's no script for this. So you'll never, ever, ever get any kind of scrutiny from me on how to respond. I understand how awkward it is, how distracting it is, how burdensome it is. So I hope nobody ever feels um, like they don't know what to say or what to do. It's just part of it. Um, but everybody has been great reaching out, and my students at work have been absolutely fantastic. When I use the word love at work, I must mean it. But these group of young people, I love them, and they have been great. Um, but so anyway, so thank you guys for that, reaching out and thinking about us and praying for us, and we definitely need it, for sure, for sure. Whoever thinks this would ever happen one time, let alone two times, and I don't know that it's fully hit us yet. I'm really surprised at how well Lori has done, and I'm just so afraid any moment now she's gonna just collapse. I just don't know. I did before I close it up here. I did want to share that I met. I tell you what, with all this bullshit in the world today, and all this media, and all people, there's a lot of people out there that are horrible people. There's a lot of people that suck out there, if I'm going to be frank and honest about it. And you guys have seen it over the last decade. But I'll tell you what, they are outnumbered by the good people. And I met some good people today. And the first good person I want to call out is Aaron Bartle up in Michigan. And he's the one that founded the Running to Honor 5K that we've been participating in. And thanks to the Aarons for introducing us. But Aaron has been trying to get something to me for a little while now, and he finally did. He wanted me to have one of the signs of Zane that is along the race route there in Michigan. And he has a friend of his called Newsly. And she was coming down to Atlanta this week to visit her daughter, Oksana. And she brought one of the signs of Zane, and she left it with her daughter, Oksana, who lives in Sandy Springs with her husband, Nano. Nano is a Marine. And Oksana texted me today and said, "Hey, Guy, you don't know me. I'm Oksana, Newsly's daughter, who's a friend of Aaron. And I have a special delivery for you." And she looked at the map, and they live in Sandy Springs. We live in Ackworth, and there was an intersection at the Big Chicken in Marietta. She said, "How about if we meet you at the Big Chicken in Marietta? It's about halfway for both of us." And I said, "Yeah, I'll meet you there at 3:00. And so I went over there and met them, and they were the nicest young couple in their 20s. And he's a Marine, and they had the sign of Zane, and they were carrying this like it was a treasure. They had it covered and protected, and they handed it to me like it was gold. And I'm just so grateful to have it, and it's so awesome. It's the kind that you stick in the ground there, and it's got Zane's image on both sides there. And anyway, those are good people right there. For Erin's friend to bring it all the way down here, and then for her daughter to spend her Sunday afternoon to bring it over. And I just had a great conversation with them, and I appreciate them doing that. In fact, let me share a picture real quick of them, and I'll just show you how awesome they are. There you go. There you go. There's the old man in the middle, and Oksana is to my right, and Nano, the Marine, to my left. And what a couple of great folks to reach out and come over and meet me, and just special. The good people outnumber the bad people in this world. I'm convinced of it. So Erin, Nuzli, Oksana, Nano, thank you guys so much. Okay. Also, I wanted to call out that Steve Shirley, who's normally with us tonight, couldn't be with us. He lost his sister-in-law yesterday. So they're spending time with his brother, I believe he said. So I'm not quite sure where they live, but thoughts and prayers go out to Steve Shirley and his family. But okay, team, I'm going to cut it short here. But that's the latest. I guess the message is that we're okay. I think, and certainly that we appreciate all of you, your thoughts and your prayers, and those that have sent things. I cannot tell you what it means to us. My neighbor walked over to me today. I went on a walk, clear my head. I got back, and my neighbor comes and walk over. I don't know who told him, but my neighbor Mike, the one that had the house fire, he says, "Guy, I'm so sorry. I don't even know what to say." But they're bringing us dinner tomorrow. But just thank you all. Just keep praying for us, for Lori and Hannah, Charlotte, Jackson, and Zane's children, Zaylee and Colby, and their mom, Raina. Zaylee is 6. I don't know if her mom has told her yet or not, but they absolutely love their daddy. They live in Savannah, so they didn't get to see him that often. But when they did, they were just treasures to him. Zaylee, they named her Zaylee after Zane, and they named Colby after Zane. Zane Colby. Colby was Zane's middle name, but Tyler and Zane were. They were close buddies. But one thing I didn't mention, I guess I should mention, and something that's very comforting to us. And Lori has stayed in very close contact with Tyler over this last year, and Tyler did accept Jesus as his Lord and Savior, and so we feel very comforted about where he's at, and that he's with Zane, and that makes a world of difference. I'll tell you, it makes a world of difference, knowing that It doesn't hurt. I mean, it doesn't help the hurt of him not being here. It doesn't help the hurt of the responsibility that a parent feels. I feel a tremendous burden for how things played out. Doesn't take that away necessarily, but knowing that is it really helps a lot. And I appreciate Lori so much and Hannah for really staying so close to him over this last year. And why would you expect anything different from a mom? And she was the best mom. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining. Maybe we'll be back on a normal Speaking of Zane schedule next week or maybe the following. Because I didn't get to any of the normal thank of vets. I know you guys had a lot of veteran thank yous this week and different things you let me know about and that you post about, and I want to share those and tally them. But I'm just not up to it tonight. But I tell you, I cannot tell you enough how much we appreciate every one of you for taking a few minutes to join tonight, and just to hear Lori and I acknowledge that we hear you guys and we feel you guys, and we appreciate it so much. So God bless you guys, and we'll look forward to seeing you all later.